I'm standing in a courtyard in the city of Venosa, looking up at an imposing castle wall. It's a windy day, and the air is chilly. Some people think the air here is bad for your health. Venosa's been through a lot. 100 years ago, its population stood at 12,000. Then the plague came. Half the town died. Now, in the year 1611, there's barely 7,000 people living here. There's a moat that separates the forecourt from the castle gates. Not many people go in or out of the castle these days, but a few do. Oh, signore, signore. Scusi, signore.
Yes?
Signore, you're about to go into the castle, yeah?
Yes?
What's your name, signore?
Giuseppe?
Giuseppe, you're about to cross the moat and go into the castle, yeah?
I'm not sure I can talk to you.
Well, it's just that not many people go in or out, and I noticed that you were just about to go in, and you're one of the few visitors. So what's going on in there? What are you up to?
I'm so sorry. I just don't think that I'm allowed to speak with you.
I couldn't get much from Giuseppe, but about 30 minutes after he passed through the castle doors, I could hear something from the east tower. What's that? Is that someone being beaten? So who's inside that castle? Well, you might think it's a king, but Venosa is part of the Kingdom of Naples, and Naples is a 4-day walk from here. But that barely even matters. The King of Naples? That's Felipe II, and he lives in Spain. Venosa is a principality, and the guy inside the castle, he's the prince. His name is Carlo Gesualdo. But Don Carlo isn't a normal prince. In fact, being a prince is more like a sideline for him. Don Carlo's main focus in life is music. He's a lutenist, a singer, and a composer of some of the most striking music ever written. But that's not all. Carlo Gesualdo, Prince of Venosa, is a murderer. I'm Gili Bianco, and this is Gesualdo. In the town of Venosa, you hear a lot of things about the prince, but hardly anybody sees him. Excuse me, when's the last time you saw Carlo Gesualdo?
Don Carlo. I think he's been locked inside the gates of that castle for 3 or 4 years now.
Do you even know that he's still alive?
Oh yeah, we can hear him.
You can hear what?
We can hear the screams.
Why do you think he's screaming?
That's not something I will know about.
Is his wife up there with him?
His wife? No, she stays as far away from Venosa as she can.
Why is that?
Well, wouldn't you? Plus, he's got that witch locked up in there with him. He doesn't need to go anywhere.
Witch?
Yes, the one who made him drink her blood.
We'll talk more about the witch later. But it's the sounds coming from the castle that I want to talk about now. And not just the screams. I want to talk about the music. If you spend enough time in Venosa, You'll eventually hear musical strains spilling over the castle walls. Most of it is faint, just loud enough to be audible, but it's there. I decided to go to the church of San Filippo Neri, just outside the castle gates, to see if I could find out more about the music that flowed out of the castle tower. Well, thanks so much for talking to us today, Padre Stefano. The first thing I want to ask you is, do you ever hear the music coming out of the East Castle Tower?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Yeah, well, they say that the prince is a musician himself, is that right?
Yes, he has assembled several of the finest singers in Italy and rebuilt the court music in Venosa.
And have you heard his music that he has actually written himself?
Yes.
And what do you think of his music?
Well, I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it very carefully since I work very diligently on my tasks here and hearing it from the window.
But you said that you hear it on pretty much a daily basis coming over the castle wall.
Yes, but I am also not able to discern if it's the prince's music or some other music. So I'm not sure.
Uh-huh. And are you a music lover yourself?
Yes, of course.
So you have opinions about music, generally speaking.
Yes, but I like to keep them to myself.
Padre Stefano's dissembling about Don Carlo's music? I get it. His stuff is weird. And I mean weird.
Yeah, so why do you think he writes the kind of music that he does?
That's Errico Benfiglio, one of our reporters.
Well, I'm sure there are many reasons.
Such as?
Well, Don Carlo has had some disturbing experiences in his life that maybe he draws that inspiration into his music.
Well, disturbing experiences. I mean, we've heard some things. Do you think that he has something to be guilty about, perhaps?
No, I don't want to comment on who's guilty or not. This is the family's business, so you can probably find that in the records if you'd like. But I don't care to comment on other people's business.
Padre Stefano wouldn't say what the Prince of Venosa has to be guilty about, but it stands as a matter of public record. On the night of October 16th, 1590, Carlo Gesualdo murdered his wife, Donna Maria d'Avalos, and his wife's lover, Fabrizio Carafa, the Duke of Andria, when he caught them in flagrante delicto in his own bedchamber at the Palazzo San Severo in Naples. But Don Carlo didn't just catch them in the act, he engineered their tryst that night. He knew full well that his wife was amorously involved with the Duke. He had found that out from his uncle, who was offended because Donna Maria had rebuffed his own advances. Now, this gets complicated because Donna Maria was actually Don Carlo's first cousin. The uncle who had made advances on Donna Maria, he was her uncle too. Don Carlo had told his wife that he would be away on a hunting trip that night. He waited for the Duke to come to her, and after their lovemaking was underway, he pounced.
Yes, I think I can find what you're looking for.
That's Sister Josefa. I'm in Naples at the Cathedral of San Domenico Maggiore. Sister Josefa looks after the records here. Sister, what happened on the night of October 16th, 1590 at the Palazzo San Severo?
According to the official inquest on this night, Don Carlo Gesualdo, Prince of Venosa, came upon his wife, Donna Maria Gesualdo, and the Duke of Andria in an upper bedchamber, in flagrante delicto. The prince or one of his men-at-arms shot the duke with an arquebus, and the prince himself stabbed the duke and Donna Marina with a pointed steel weapon or weapons several times in many diverse regions of the body.
Is it true that the prince dragged the bodies onto the steps of the palazzo so that they could be seen by everyone in the town?
According to the official inquest, the investigators found the bodies in the room in which they had been slain.
Well, we've heard from many people that Donna Maria may have recently given birth to a second child before the night of these murders, and that this child was said to bear a striking resemblance to the Duke of Andria. Did Don Carlo also murder this child?
Let me see here. No, that's not accounted for in the record book.
Did Don Carlo commit a crime?
That's Errico again.
No charges were pressed by any of the families involved.
But what about you? Do you think that what he did was wrong?
Only God can make such a judgment.
Sometimes life comes at you fast, and being noble, even that's no guarantee that you won't end up in trouble. That's why the Bank of Venice offers its customers that rarest of assets, peace of mind. Through wars and plagues and famines and floods, you can rest assured that the Bank of Venice will see you through and ensure that your money is invested in a wide range of mercantile endeavors. That's the Bank of Venice promise. The Bank of Venice is offering a special deal to listeners of the Gesualdo podcast. Just go to your local branch with the promo code MADRIGAL, and you'll get a gold ducat when you open a new account. After the murders, Don Carlo married again, but things with his second wife, Eleonora d'Este, were rocky from the start. She accused her husband of mistreatment, abuse, and infidelity. There was even the assertion that Don Carlo had been placed under the spell of a witch. And that's what I wanted to know more about. Who was this witch? And was she actually locked inside the castle with Don Carlo? I knew that there was one person who was sure to know.
I am Don Antonio Frigento, counselor to the Viceroy of Naples.
I caught up with Don Antonio inside his carriage as he was traveling back from Naples. Don Antonio, I believe that in August of 1603 you received a report from Cesare Staebano, baronial governor to the house of Gesualdo. Is this correct?
It is.
And what was the subject of this report?
The report concerned witches and sorcery in the house of Gesualdo, and an update on the state of the trial against Aurelia Del Rico and Polisandra Pezzella.
And who is Aurelia Del Rico?
Signora Aurelia is the consort of Don Carlo Gesualdo, Prince of Venosa.
So, not his wife?
No, not his wife.
And of what offense did she stand accused?
Witchcraft and sorcery.
And was this accusation proven?
Yes, it was.
How do you go about proving such a thing? Do you just put her in water and see if she floats?
Nothing so crude. We carried out a thorough inquisition and received testimony from several witnesses as to the love potions that Signora Aurelia gave to Don Carlo in order to bewitch him.
Love potions? What was the nature of these love potions?
I would perhaps prefer not to say.
Well, yes, but you've got the report right there. Would you perhaps mind reading the pertinent passages?
According to the report, that the aforementioned Aurelia made the prince drink her menstrual blood is established by 4 witnesses to extrajudicial confessions by the defendant.
Oh, wow. Okay. What about Polisandra Pezzella? She's also named in the Inquisition. Who is she?
Polisandra was a local sorceress, known to have had secret conversations with Signora Aurelia.
And do we know what the nature of those conversations was?
According to the report, that the aforementioned Polisandra had told her that if she would take a slice of bread and place it inside her nature, And after it was saturated with her seed, she will give it to the prince to eat with sauce. Is established through an extrajudicial confession by the defendant and also through the deposition of the self-same Aurelia given intrajudicially and without torture.
And you said that the accusations of witchcraft against Aurelia had been proven. What was her punishment?
To be imprisoned for life in the castle at Venosa.
The castle where Don Carlo is in residence?
The same.
Thank you for your time, Don Antonio.
Certo.
The report from this Inquisition is just one of the many, many official records documenting the life of Carlo Gesualdo. In fact, there are probably more documents about him than just about any other human alive today. But those are just documents. It's obviously important for Don Carlo to be able to tell his own story, and we have reached out to him in every way we could. We've written letters to him personally, to his chaplain, to his baronial governor, even to his son, Emanuele, none of which were answered. But I still have questions. Had Donna Maria given birth to a second child? Had Don Carlo committed infanticide? And what about the murders we know he committed? He was never formally accused of a crime, but did he feel guilty over them? And now that he was holed up in the castle at Venosa, was he employing local youths to beat him as a penance for his sins, as some of the town folks we interviewed told us off the record? And maybe most importantly, was the provocative, eerie music that he had been writing in the decades since 1590 a reflection of his personal anguish? There was only one way to find out. Okay, so I'm outside the castle at Venosa, and it's sunrise, and the castle doors are just about to open to receive the morning deliveries. So I'm hiding on the back of an ox cart under a tarp, and I'm just going to hope for the best. Okay, I'm inside, and now I'm standing in front of the eastern tower where we know Don Carlo maintains his private apartments. I'm going to go up the stairs. Okay, this has to be the door. Don Carlo, Signore. This is Gili Bianco, the person who's been writing you those letters. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. That's next time on Gesualdo. Gesualdo is a production of the Classical Gabfest Network. It's produced, reported, and narrated by me, Gili Bianco, with reporting assistance from Enrico Benfiglio. Special thanks to Padre Stefano of the Chiesa di San Filippo Neri in Venosa, Sister Josefa at the Cattedrale di San Domenico Maggiore in Naples, and Don Antonio Frigento at the office of the Viceroy of Naples. All the music you heard in this episode was written by or based on music by Don Carlo Gesualdo, Prince of Venosa.